Hey, and welcome back to the channel. I got something a little special planned for you guys today. I have been thinking, and the credit card creator spotlights have been doing well. I really do enjoy making them. So now, why don't we transition into an interview? Because I had one credit card creator spotlight that was a little different than the others, and it was kind of special to me. So I wanted to see how far we can take this. And that was the one about the credit card creators. That's right. You guys, the audience. I think it's time for me to interview the audience. So let's let my co-star do her thing, and then we'll jump right into it.
Welcome back to my dad's channel. If you're new here, make sure to click that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to share.
So in this space, I've seen tons of growth. I've seen people go from single, double digits to 4 and 5 and even in the 6 digits as far as subscribers go. I've seen people's confidence grow. I've seen people take to live streaming so much to the point now that there are so many intersections from all the live streams, sometimes we step on each other's toes. I've seen all these things. I've seen the super chats go up, the super thanks go up, the comments, the interactions. I've even been a part of a meetup. I've organized a meetup. And these things have been great. But a lot of the times what you see expressed on camera is creators interacting with other creators. And while that's all well and good and everyone knows how much of a champion I am of creators, don't you guys get sick of that? Because I know as a creator, sometimes, I'm going to tell you as a secret, I do. Because our audience, the people who we have a responsibility to, sometimes provide the kind of gems and jewels that really spurn us on, that really keep us going. And I've come to have a great and deep respect and appreciation for that. Now, it's okay to get tired of people. People get tired of me all the time. Yep, they sure do. Oh. Well, in any case, in some cases, you might stop watching people. As a matter of fact, somebody's probably rage watching this right now. No, they're not. No, they're not. Well, either way, people are going to be tuning into this because it makes sense. Because, I mean, what else is there to do? We're watching Sebi. Geez, that's depressing, but they're probably right. But in any case, I got 10 questions that I'm going to answer first, but I want to ask you guys, and I want to see your answers in the comments, and let's see how far we can go with this, because it's time for me to interview you, the viewing audience. So my first question to you guys out there, how many countries have you visited? How many of the states in the United States have you visited? Now, for me personally, I have visited 11 countries and 41 states, and that is over my entire life, not just while I've been in the credit card game. And once you write them out, once you get them down on paper, seems like a lot until you realize there is a much bigger world out there to discover. I do believe in Anthony Venture's interview of Jacob from Jacob's Point and Profit. I think he's been to like over 35 countries. So it seems like a lot to some, but when you put it in perspective, I still got a lot to go. Next question is, what was your Platinum Card's annual fee when you got it? Now, a lot of people here are younger than me, but they've had their Platinum Cards a lot longer than me, so they've actually been through quite a few annual fee changes. As a matter of fact, the price adjusted annual fee when the Platinum Card came out, which was at $250, if price adjusted for today's dollars, is actually higher than what we're paying for it now. But I will take the suspense away. If you've been watching the channel, you already know I've just recently acquired the Platinum within the last 2 years, and my annual fee was $695. Now that leads me into my third question. And my third question is, what is your primary travel card? And by travel, I mean anything. If you live in a city and your travel mainly consists of mass transit, what card do you use? Are you a domestic traveler? What card do you use? Are you an international traveler? What is your go-to card? It is no secret, I've done an entire playlist about the card. I don't go anywhere without my American Express Platinum Charles Schwab card. So I'm always busting my own chops here about my age, especially in comparison to the greater community. So this leads me to my next question, and that is, what is the oldest active card that you have? My oldest card is 281 months old, and that is my Capital One Venture card, which was product change from a Capital One Venture 1, which was product change from a Capital One Quicksilver, which was product change from a Capital One Platinum card. That is a card I started with back in August of 2000. I think I got the months right. Sounds about right, at least when I counted back. So for those of you who are like me, and you have more of a older credit history. My question to you is, what is the coolest card you think you had that no longer exists? So for me, that card is actually not a credit card, but it's a debit card. I didn't realize what I had in my hands when I had it, but it was back when I had the Chase debit card that actually earned UR points. Now, how this worked was that you used your debit card when you paid. Now, back then, what they would do is when you used your debit card, it would ask you if you wanted to do cash or credit as the payment method. So what Chase said was, as long as you choose credit and use the Visa processing network, in order to make a debit transaction, you earned UR points. So that was, no one really knew what we had in our hands until it went away. So thanks, Dick. Remember the kids, Durbin. So question number 6, hotel status or airline status? You can only have one. What do you choose? For me, hotel status all the way. Airline status, pound for pound, is more valuable. Why do I say that? It's easier to enact upgrades. It is a much more competitive market. And on top of that, airlines are basically banks anyway because they deal more in currency than they even do in physical flights. So while having airline status is more valuable, having hotel status is easier to get, especially if you are on extended vacations or extended stays in hotels. They can afford you more amenities and in some cases, almost food stipends where every day you will get credits. Like whenever I stay in a Hilton on a work project, I get $15 worth of credit every day to get something from the store, get something to eat. I can spend at their store. So if I need to wash clothes, that's worth its weight in gold. And the best part about it is a lot of the times, no matter what I spend, because they apply it every day, whether I use it or not, I normally walk out owing zero. So this question, I'm actually kind of curious about for the viewing audience, and that is, which issuer do you pass the most money through? Now for me, it's Amex. There's no real way to even explain it. It's just Amex, and not because I'm scared of pop-up jail, which I'm currently in, but it's just the fact that I have the most cards from that issuer, so I tend to use them more. Even though, no lie, I'm actually starting to lean towards Capital One because the Venture and Saver combo that I have has actually been pretty useful, especially traveling, and the fact that I can link the Saver to my American Advantage portal and my Simply Miles portal and pick up American Airlines miles along the way. So that has made it hyper useful and really been giving Amex a run for its money, especially since they've done something specifically to get under my skin, but that's another conversation for another day. So we're finishing up here with the 8th question, and that is, what is the dumbest thing you've ever done with points? For me, I can remember it very vividly. Before I ever got into the points and miles game, one thing that I used to do after I would travel to all of these Hiltons is instead of booking vacations like a normal human being, and instead of doing something productive like someone who didn't have the IQ of a chestnut, I was actually using my Hilton Honors points to buy crap on Amazon that I no longer even know if it exists. I'm fairly certain I probably threw most of that stuff away. But as soon as I would get the Hilton points, I would just be like, oh, no money out of pocket. Let me spend them on Amazon. Like an idiot. By all means, you share your story. So these last 2 questions are actually going to be YouTube focused because in my perspectives, I like to save the YouTube stuff for last because look, we exist in this ecosystem, so let's pay it some respect. But the 9th question is, how do you feel about a creator responding to your comments? Does it matter to you? It totally matters to me. If I take the time to comment on your page, if I take the time to comment on your video, you can call me unreasonable, but relatively speaking, if you have a subscriber count that's 5 digits or less, unless you're about to tap 100, there's really no reason why you can't just answer comments. Like it, heart it, whatever. Make a response. And the reason being is because it takes an hour or 2 of answering comments and you don't know how you can affect the people who watch your content. And then in addition to all of that, the vast majority of comments are less than a single sentence. And if they're a sentence, they're probably not even a cogent sentence. There's just a quick mind blurb that somebody put on there. So it doesn't take a million years. You don't have to type a dissertation to respond to each comment. But for me, Yeah, it matters. If I comment, say something back, because I answer all my comments, and I'm just regular. And for the final question, and this one might be a little polarizing, but what makes you unsubscribe to a channel? Now, I rarely unsubscribe to channels, but I do unsubscribe to channels. Now, here's a couple reasons why for me. If the content gets stale, there's only so many different ways you can pre-package the same credit card approval. I get it. You always win. And if you don't win, you get reconsidered. Okay, that's not me praying for anybody's downfall, but let's just be realistic. Nobody wins, always. I can only hear about the same hotel loyalty program, but so many times. Look, this thing, and that's just the credit card niche, but as far as greater YouTube goes, really and truly, if you are not discovering new things with your talent, chances are you're not going to keep my attention. Now, does that always mean to unsubscribe? No, I just may focus my attention elsewhere. But if I find that you are being offensive to a degree, at least offensive to my sensibilities, yeah, I have no problem unsubscribing to you. A second thing is that a mind shift could occur. You may decide to go in a direction that I don't particularly agree with, and while it's not offensive, it just might not be something I want popping up on my feed via the algorithm. So that is another reason I may unsubscribe to you. Another thing, a third thing, and I'll just cap it at 3, is gratuitous sponsored content irritates me. I already get irritated by the fact that sponsored content defeats the paywall that I pay in order to not see commercials, but some people take it way too far. And if you have multiple sponsors in there or multiple times that you're mentioning some product that you're shilling, I just can't do it. And as a matter of fact, here's a fourth one. This is the last one. One thing that I've been known to unsubscribe to people for are people who beg for referrals, and they beg for people to not only watch, but participate and spend their hard-earned money, and they never say thank you. They never do anything for their audience. They never dedicate anything to their audience. Because remember, without the audience, we're just a bunch of people just yelling at each other about things that no one really cares about. So there we go, 10 questions for the audience. I will be waiting feverishly to read the responses. Hopefully people do respond and people do participate, because I would love to know more about you guys, especially because you guys have allowed me to do something that I have really grown to love. It's a great hobby, and it's a great way to really get my ideas and thoughts out there, and I want to say that I appreciate you. So please feel free, as I do the pointy thing here. One of these pointy things will actually be the credit card creator spotlight that I did on the audience. And I want to know what you guys think. It's very important to me because ever since I began, I've always asked for your interaction. It's always been very meaningful to me. And I think I'm going to enjoy reading these.